Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I want to talk about setting up the Citation 36. Now I already set up this bow and I filmed this yesterday. Unfortunately the memory card was full, so it's not live, so to speak. Okay, so I'm going to talk through some of the things. The D-loop I left the same. Sometimes I put knocking points above and below it, like tie them in. And if I'm going to do that, I'll put it slightly more down the bottom than up the top to keep it straight. But there was basically very little gap between this. These are the boning pin knock, and I was like, well, I was thinking about, do I shoot the biter pin knock? Do I shoot the boning? And I was like, look, this is all set up. We can just run with this. Now, I had to time the cams. That took me about 20 minutes. It was very easy to do. Like, you've just got to twist it up. It was sometimes when a cam drops off rapidly, then it goes backwards and forwards. Like one wheel roll over ahead of the other, and then you do some twists, and then the other one rolls over ahead. This was very predictable, and probably took about 4 turns or 5 turns on the bow press to get the cams aligned as far as timed, so they're rolling over together. Then I had the problem with the peep sight first, so I put the peep sight on, pulled it back, and made sure the height was correct. Once I had the height correct, I then tied it in. Once I tied it in, then I had to get it to be straight. That took a couple of shots to get this to be basically straight, and there was a little bit of turning when I first started shooting it, but it seems to have settled down now. Fitting the sight, I moved it 1 point up on the sight scale, so that Citation has multiple sight positions, so you can put it up. I moved it up so it didn't touch the cable rod here. I could have moved the sight inwards to clear it, but I put it there. The blade arrow rest I used was straight off the Citation. It's just a cheap cartel $50 blade arrow rest. The peep sight is 1 1/16. It's an Avalon. I chose this because it was blue. Now I could have chosen a specialty peep or a Hamsky peep where you can change the apertures and add clarifiers, but I just wanted to shoot this bow, so I didn't want to make choices at this stage. I just wanted to shoot it and see how it went. Now if I was going to choose one with the adjustable apertures, then I had to make a choice between, do I go for one which is like longer, so it's more of a tunnel vision, like the PXS from Specialty, or do I just go for a normal peep? I was tending to go for the longer one, which I've shot before, but I thought, look, let's go shoot, let's see how the string stays up, let's see how it holds up, because this is custom string. The sight, I just chose the sight from my last Citation. The colors don't match. This is the gold from one of my gold XL sights, which I would have shot with my gold Perform bow. And this is a red XL, so basically I've just grabbed it from one of the others. The stabilizers, we put it down the bottom position. I've gone for V-bars because that was off the Citation. I've added more weights on the left-hand side than the right-hand side. And I've put the stabilizer down the bottom. This is a straight dead center stabilizer. This is the Tech 1 bow thing. They're about $25 to hold the bow. Now, I actually shot the arrows and I shot them pretty good. Like, I was extremely happy with them. I think the majority of them are in the X. Now, I do actually have video footage of that, so hopefully I'll be able to put this up there and show the arrows going in. So with that, I was pretty happy. So I shot some arrows up close, 2 or 3, just to make sure the peak was straight. Then I went back to 18 and started shooting. And I shot, I think, probably 7 arrows, and most of them were in the X. It was amazing. I was very happy with the way the bow was holding. Most of the time the bow was just holding the 10. Wasn't fluctuating. The first one I think I shot low, and then I adjusted the sight halfway through the shooting and they moved up and I was in business. So it was nice. I felt very comfortable with the bow. The process felt really good. So from here, where I'm up to, I'm going to shoot some arrows and hopefully they go in the center again, because otherwise they'll be a bit disappointing. I would like to change the sight to be blue and black to match this bow, but before I did that I wanted to try the bow out. I would probably change the peep sight. At distance, I'm finding this a little bit blurry. At close distance, at 2, 3, 4 meters, it was completely clear. This is a 6 power scope. 6 power scope, you'll generally need a clarifier in the back. The size of the hole is 1 1/16. It seems pretty good as far as the lining up the scope. I didn't play around, I just put it in size and it seemed to be right. The stabilizers on the back, whether I go single or double, look, I don't know. I've tried it before, the singles and the doubles, and the Supras I'm shooting singles. I didn't find any difference between singles and doubles. I tried it on the Perform, found no difference in my scores, so I would probably like to change to probably high quality back bars. Now that wouldn't make any difference, it'll just look better, and I'd probably like to try the tungsten weights front and back just to reduce the size a bit. But that's about it. So the things I'd like to change: peep, sight colours, and the stabilizer at the back to make it look a bit flasher. So that's where we're up to. So let's shoot some arrows and hopefully these go in the middle. So I've been shooting the Citation EM, and I found I shot that bow pretty good. It's just, it was hard to shoot. At 55 pounds, I found the draw hard and my muscles would fatigue. When my muscles weren't fatiguing, I found it pretty good. So I shot really good groups, but then I'd fatigue and not shoot such good groups. So it would have been better if if I'd been practicing more. So with this bow at 60 pounds so far, and I've only shot it then and now, it feels a lot easier to draw than the EM at 55. Now I'm going to say it's harder to shoot outdoors than indoors, and I did the video yesterday indoors. There's a bit of wind around, the neighbour's windows shining straight in my face. Not making excuses. But yesterday's group was outstanding. So I found this bow, like the draw cycle I really like. I like the way the bow feels when I shoot it. It feels... So I've shot the Expression before this, the Perform and the Supras, the PSE 37 and the EMs in 40, two of them. I find this bow the nicest of the bows I've shot so far. As I was saying, it's a little bit harder in the wind. That time the wind was pushing me out to the left of the target, and I probably would have liked to take that shot sooner in the process, and I started to fatigue. My front arm was starting to shake and I was having trouble getting the shot off because of the wind. Now with new strings, like, you can use the D loop to move the peep sight around a bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking to see if this peep sight moves at all, and at the moment it's completely straight back. So this is straight back too. So that time it was turning just a little bit. The reason why this is important, because if I went for the tunnel peep sights, the ones that are longer, which are great to use if your peep doesn't move. I was shooting really well one of these events, and I was like, I'm going to shoot the Australian record. I was halfway through the event and I don't know if I'd missed. I was shooting really, really well. I was like, I've so got this, and I didn't feel like I could miss. And then the sun hit me in the face and the peep turned. I couldn't see. I was blinded. I was completely blinded, and like my score was still pretty good, but it dropped off. But the first 6 ends, I think they were pretty clean, so it was just a bit disappointing, but it's the way it goes. Anyway, after that event, so it was a podium peep, the long one from Specialty. And I was really liking it when I was shooting complete 60s at 50 meters. And when I was blinded, I couldn't see. And I was fatiguing because when I was trying to make the shots, I couldn't see, so I'd have to let down and give it a little bit of a twist. And the sun was hitting me, so I'm not sure if it was the peep rotation or the sun hitting me in the eye or the sun hitting the peep, because it was in the afternoon I was shooting. Anyway, I went home, I took the peep out. And it wasn't a bad score, it was just, it's hard to shoot when you can't see. Look, I love the PSE grip. If you shoot PSE, it will be a grip that you're familiar with, and it's hard to go away because the other grips all feel different. So when the concept of shooting an Elite or shooting a Bowtech or shooting another brand, which are all good bows, I'm like, I just know this bow. I know it's got really good backup. I've been shooting PSE for probably 10 plus years now. I have never had a problem with any of the bows. And the grips all feel the same, the draw cycles feel similar. It's just that familiarity that you know the product. Like, this cam has not changed in 4 years. It's the same cam. So if you ever have a problem with a PSE cam, chances are it's the same cam for 4 years, so the parts are going to be pretty readily available. Saying that, I had a customer dry fired his bow on Saturday. He rang up and he said, I need these cams, and I had them in stock. He said, oh, I live a bit away. And I was like, where'd you live? Because I'm thinking he lives, in a different state. He only lived an hour's drive away. He said, oh, I'll come up just before Christmas. Now, I don't know if someone else will dry fire their bow in the meantime and just grab those cams, because I don't even remember what cams they were. But the point is that it's not hard to get a set of cams for a PSE. Now, I'm finding the bow fairly heavy as far as mass weight. I've got a stack of weight on the backs. I've got a stack of weight on the front. And I've done that for a reason. I'm trying to build up. The bow weight could be a little bit heavy on the front. I might need more weight on the back. And that sort of stuff is what I'll experiment with the more I get familiar with this bow. But what I'll do first off is I'll shoot some scores and see how they feel, and I'll go back and I'll shoot indoor because that's why I practice every night. And then I'll go back and shoot 50 meters and shoot scores. And that way I've got a benchmark on how I'm shooting. That way when I try stuff, so if I try a different peep, I know whether I shoot better or worse. And I'll give it a go for maybe a week, 2 weeks. Same with weights. If I go one side or two sides, or add weights or reduce weights, I test it, I shoot scores. If I shoot better, I leave it. If I don't, they come off and I go back to the way it was. I'm finding the 29 inches feeling comfortable. I almost feel like I need to go a little bit longer. I don't know if I do or don't. I'm spending time working on my technique, making sure this shoulder's up nice and high. I kind of want it directly in line. I don't want it low. I've got a habit of having it down low as opposed to up high. So I'm working on myself a lot. feel like these arrows are going, I feel like they're going really, really well. I feel like they're shooting better than I'm actually shooting the shots. So that last shot, I think I fired at about 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It was in the 10, but it probably wasn't an X in the, it was between the X and the 10 zone where I fired. But I feel great. Like, when you first shoot a bow, like I did the review on this bow and it felt good to shoot, but it sort of shot bottom out, shot like this. But when you put these stabilizers on, this is a different bow. Now with this, when I shoot, I get some shakes. So that shot I was shaking, my front hand was shaking, that's fatigue. My muscles in my back are fatiguing just through shooting. And the more you shoot, the more those muscles will get built, and the less you will shake, the less you'll fatigue, the less you'll move, the more consistent you will be, which is why you need to shoot. Now, some people shoot because they want to improve their scores, some people shoot for relaxation. Look, I just enjoy shooting, and you know, I like the fact that I can go, I come out here and I can go bang, 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 and this end's feeling really good. Shooting a perfect at home is virtually the same to me as shooting a perfect at a competition, except I'm going to say a competition's harder. In some respects, the competitions are easier because I get breaks and I can be a little bit more focused. I definitely shoot better scores at competitions with a compound. Less so with a recurve. Recurves, I tend to aim longer at competitions. I fatigue more. As a result, I shoot a little bit, sometimes a little bit worse with a recurve at competition, but it's debatable. I think it's pretty similar, but compound, I generally shoot better at competition. I'm just going to shoot one more. So when I set up a bow, I see a lot of people worrying about lots of stuff. They worry about everything. You know, what stabilizers, what peep sights, the size of the peep sight, what clarifier to get. Worry about everything. Just go shoot. And you know, it's probably not what you want to hear. I always think, well, if Brady Ellison can shoot 300 with a recurve, I've got a compound, I've got a release aid, I've got a scope, I've got all this going for me. Why can't I do it? Go shoot, and then just work on it work on stuff over time. Chances are that you're going to have so much variation in your body and the way you shoot that the bow's really not even a factor. But play with stuff over time. But just get shooting and make sure everything's alright. You don't want to worry about everything. You don't want to worry about stabilizers, arrow rests, scopes, what type of sight to get, what type of release aid to get, what type of peep to buy, what color dot to get. Don't worry about stuff first. Just go shoot. Work this stuff out over time. That one, my front arm was like bouncing a little bit. When it went off, it was in the 10. It was pretty much in the middle, so if I shot a 9, I'd be disappointed because they all felt really good. The bow felt really good. Everything felt good. There was a bit of wind. That's not bad, and they all felt like really good shots. Let's go have a look. Okay, so it's not bad. The last one. I think the high arrow there was my last shot. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but it wasn't bad. I feel like because I was moving up or down when I was shooting, and I think I triggered it as I was moving up. Now this doesn't really worry me, so to speak. There is so many good arrows. There's so many good arrows there. I don't focus on my bad arrows. I focus on the good arrows. I'm like, if I fired a good shot, I'm like, yay. This end for me felt fantastic. The bow felt good. It felt easy. For me, it just feels like I've got to shoot more arrows. I've got to get my body more in tune. Because I've been shooting a lot of recurve, so I feel like I've just got to get in tune. But the bow itself feels great. So with that, I'm happy with all this. I'm happy with everything there. I'm not sure what the arrow is off to the side there, which is, it's close to a 10, but it's a 9. Look, there's, like I said, there's a little bit of wind and whatever. This bow I set up yesterday. I shot 6 arrows with it yesterday, which I did in the video, and I was extremely happy with that one. Like, extremely happy. I'm just ecstatic with this too. This is as good as I shoot. Like, there are a bunch of X's in there. In my best, I generally shoot 2 X's and a 10. That's the best. I think 20 X's for an indoor round is my best. So there is a stack of X's in there. So this is clearly my best. Probably not the best score because there's 2 9s there, but this is outdoors and whatever. I am completely confident I can shoot my best score with this bow. Completely confident. I'm not like praising PSE or anything like that. To me, this just feels really comfortable. Feels good. So next. So where do I go to next? I shoot arrows. I'll probably experiment with the peep sight, because what I found when I was shooting yesterday, less so today, might be because the light's better here than indoors, I was struggling to see the target. The target was a bit blurry, so I might try and clarify that. So when I say clarify, I might try and change the peep to a longer one like the PXS from Specialty, put a clarifier in, put a 1/16 in, happy with the size of the hole. I will experiment with the stabilizers, and that's the weights, because I was getting a bit of this. I wasn't getting any of this, even though the grouping's kind of left and right, and probably less so up and down. It's more left and right, but it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So, but I just felt like I was moving around. Now it could be my muscles, and that's why I need to shoot a lot more arrows to see how it all feels. But I feel like I could probably reduce a little bit of weight at the front, just to make it a little bit more balanced. But I don't know if it'll make any difference to anything, because it feels extremely easy. And yesterday when I was shooting the bow, I actually took 4 ounces of weight off the front before I did the review. And the reason I did that was because I had this bow, the Citation EM, set up to shoot the state championships and national championships, where there was a lot of wind when we shot, and I added extra weight on. So I took weight off before I tested it, because I just felt like there was a lot of weight. So I took the 4 ounces back off. So, but my first step will be to shoot it, and then it'll probably be the peep sight, and then I'll probably experiment with some stabilizers and go from there. But I will do videos as we progress with this bow, and see how we go. And we'll probably do some videos at 50 meters and see how I shoot with it. And it would be nice to have a matching sight on the bow. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. That's the PSE Citation 36 SE cam, set up for target archery. All up, it took me about 20 minutes to do the strings and cables, so timing the wheels, getting the peep sight put in about 40 minutes. All up, the bow build probably took me an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, and that was pretty quick because most of it just bolted in. The one thing I noticed was, so the Citation EM and the Citation SE, it's the same riser, so I just bolted the armrest on, I didn't have to move it left or right. What I did notice is the sight, scope, same, everything's the same. I had to move in towards the bow. That was a bit weird. I'm not sure why that was, but it was a movement around that big. I had to move in. So it's more aligned on the SE than it was in the EM. Not sure why that was, but it's just, I don't know if it's because this is higher poundage than the EM, but both bows have got basically the same speed because this is at 60 and the EM was at 55. This bow's 29 inches, the EM's 28.5. Am I going to experiment with the let off? Not to start with, because I'm pretty comfortable with this. The PSE Supra 37, the light blue one, I just tested with when I did the RTX. That had the lower let off, modules moved forward. I couldn't really pick it, so at this stage I'll just shoot this bow the way it feels and just see how I shoot. I'll be just putting down lots of scores and sort of seeing how they go and see if I can shoot a score good enough to help me out as far as rankings, Australian rankings, state rankings, and see if the records are possible. So that's kind of where I'm at now. So I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.